Hi friends, my name is Frank, and in the last video I talked about what I will miss about Germany in the USA. In this video, I'm doing the contrast program. Today I'm talking about what I definitely won't miss about Germany in the USA. Before I start, I just want to point out once again that I don't want to upset anyone and that the stories only reflect my personal experiences and therefore have no general validity. So I hope that nobody blames me for this video and that you still feel well entertained. Now let me start with the first point, low wage sector. Most people abroad think that Germany is a rich country and that everyone is doing well, but that's not the truth. As the video progresses, you will understand why this is not the case. Very few are aware that under the former chancellorship of Angela Merkel, the country has expanded into the largest low-wage sector in Europe. Also, this made the country the export world champion, and large companies and the government achieved record revenues, which gave the country a high gross national product and could call itself a rich country. This was the expense of the general population who got an ever lower standard of living with low wages. After 16 years of Angela Merkel, good paying jobs are hard to come by, and most jobs these days are extremely bad paying jobs. And the pay is often so bad that the employees are also dependent on Hartz IV, which will be called citizen benefit from January 2023, which are state subsidies. Without these grants, many people would become homeless or even starve. And even with the subsidies, which really only cover the subsistence level, the situation in Germany is very dramatic, especially because of inflation and the gas crisis, so that the citizens are also dependent on food banks. Because people can't save anything and can only pay very little into the pension fund, they are doomed to fall into poverty in old age. Which brings us to the next topic, the pensions. It used to be that pensions were secure and anyone who went to work could rely on a good pension if they were no longer able to work at the end of their lives. But even those times are long ago. Many people who have paid into the pension fund for 40 years only get around 50 to 60% of the total money that has been paid into their lives paid back by the state, because the state invests the remaining money in other areas, but they doesn't benefit pensioners. In addition, there is the fact, in my opinion unconstitutional, that even the pension has to be taxed again, and this despite the fact that you have had to pay income taxes your entire life. So that is basically double taxation. For many, this has the consequence that they are basically also dependent on state subsidies again. But in the eyes of the state, they are above the poverty line and are therefore forced to look for deposit bottles in the waste baskets on the streets in order to get their pension, or have to look for a small part-time job to make ends meet. And due to the high poverty rate, the food banks in the city district are so overwhelmed that they often refuse customers and can no longer serve them. With the wave of migration in 2015 under Angela Merkel and the wave of refugees triggered by the Ukrainian war, the situation has worsened again. Germany is the country with the world's highest cost of electricity, gas prices, and also penalized with the highest gasoline prices in the world. Housing rental costs often consume half of wages, excluding energy costs plus other costs for which the state is directly responsible. The tax burden for citizens is so high that often only 60% of the net gross wage is left over, and then there are additional burdens, such as high food prices due to VAT, a kind of television tax for the public media, which is in fact broadcasting, radio, and cost for compulsory health insurance, church taxes, and much more. There's almost nothing for which there's no taxes. Dog and cat tax, solidarity surcharge, road tax, trade tax, sales tax, motor vehicle tax, energy tax, inheritance tax, gift tax, and much, much more. And the left-green government is currently in the process of adding an additional assessment tax to the gas taxes, because gas costs are currently rising extremely. This is intended to relieve large corporations that have to import gas from abroad at high cost. In Germany, citizens are squeezed like lemons. Health system. For decades, Germany was known worldwide for having a very good health system, but this is no longer the case for a long time. Rigorous austerity policies over the past 30 years have brought the healthcare system to the brink of collapse. There are so few nursing staff that they can no longer accreditedly care for mass of patients and are close to collapse. In addition, the profession is poorly paid, and many nurses are seriously considering quitting the job, making the situation worse. And as far as health insurance is concerned, they are so much geared towards maximizing profits that they only cover basic care. So anyone who needs dentures is well advised to take out expensive supplementary insurance so that they don't have to live with a thief. And this austerity policy is also found in school education. Schools are in a desolate state and in need of renovation, and there are not enough teachers. Studying at the universities is still subsidized by the state, but not free of charge. The level of education in schools has fallen so much that Germany only occupies the bottom places in international studies. And this is partly due to the fact that Germany completely overslept the internet expansion. So that brings me to the next topic, bureaucracy. If you look to the bureaucracy in Germany, you know what bureaucracy at the limit means. At the highest level. Due to the porous digitization, almost all offices are still working on the technical level of the 1980s. Fax machine might have been globally competitive as late as the 1980s, but early 1990s. But even in 2022, health departments are still using faxes. Many other offices cannot even be reached by fax, but must be contacted by post, by letter. And the paperwork really takes on extreme proportions. For example, if you want to build a house, it often takes more than 2 years just to get permission to build a house. The American Declaration of Independence is 300 words. But the EEC Commission regulation on the import of caramels and caramel products stretches over 26,911 words. I think that's a pretty good way to explain bureaucracy in Germany. Germany is ruled by ideology instead of realism. In Germany, everything is regulated, governed, and organized down to the smallest detail, and it's not uncommon for the government to go far beyond the target, where it actually has no place such as in the private lives of individual citizens. But even there, the German government does not stop, but still tries to dictate to the citizens what they can and cannot do in their private lives. For example, politicians say publicly, because of the gas crisis, one should not heat so much, shower less, or even give up showering and rather use a washcloth. Anyone who doesn't agree to gendering is directly labeled as homophobic. Anyone who sees migration policy critically is immediately discredited as a Nazi. And there are many other examples of vicious discrediting ordinary citizens. During the pandemic, government were even so teaching that politicians wanted to teach the population how to wash their hands correctly. There was even a video explaining this on the internet. Of course, all this also has social consequences. People feel disenfranchised and are beginning to rebel, and quite a few are becoming politically extreme, which I view very critically. God knows I am a God-believing person, and I would never be so extreme as to blow up a sinking ship. I'd rather leave the sinking ship and look for a saving shore. This is the reason why I want to leave Germany and try my luck with my wife in a country outside of Europe. I am just looking for a chance in life, a life in prosperity, a life in peace, and a life of freedom. I am a grateful person, a humble person, and I acknowledge my gratitude to the country that gives me this opportunity with loyalty and patriotism. God bless America. And God bless my wife for giving me the chance to achieve this goal. A woman who believes in my sincerity and will return my love as much as I love her. But to come back to the growing dissatisfaction of the population in Germany, I experience day by day how dissatisfaction is reflected in everyday life. People are becoming more and more disrespectful and abusive. In view of the social grievances, they fight each other, and the politicians are not entirely to blame for this. The division in society is not only between right and left. The division goes further and is now also found in sexual orientation, in wokeism, in the environmental issues, and in many other things. It's going too far to accuse someone with dreadlocks of committing cultural appropriation. The people who do it because they like reggae music and reggae culture, for example. It's going too far to accuse someone with a bald head of radical right-wing sentiment, because many do it out of pragmatism, because their hair is falling out. Let's just relax and try to understand each other instead of always judging and threatening each other with cancel culture. I just wish for a peaceful world and remain in this spirit with best regards. Ciao, your Frank. And by the way, I hope you like this video, subscribe to my channel, and tune in again soon when I upload a new video on YouTube. Bye and peace.